Talia Wren reached the sealed stairway at Kittering Avenue after midnight, with one wet sleeve, one empty stomach, and no place in the city that would let her remain still. The rain had stopped an hour earlier, but the streets kept dripping from every awning and fire escape, and the gutters moved with a thin, oily skin of light. She had spent the evening inside a bus depot until the guard found her asleep behind the vending machines and told her he was counting to 10. She had spent the next 40 minutes walking under elevated track, keeping to the darker side of the pillars, where the late buses threw dirty wind across her knees. By the time she reached the old subway entrance, her shoes had taken in water through both soles. The iron gate over the stairs was chained across the middle, but the bottom had been bent outward by someone smaller than a grown man and more patient than a drunk. Talia lay on her side, pushed her bag ahead of her, and pulled herself under, with the cold edge of the gate dragging across her ribs. For a moment, she did not move. The stairwell smelled of wet concrete, old chewing gum, and the sour dust that rose from places where people were not meant to sleep. Somewhere below, beyond tiled turns and forgotten landings, a train passed through a tunnel still in service. It did not sound close. It sounded like a giant door being rolled shut under the earth. She went down because down meant out of the wind. The station had been closed for renovation long enough that the posters had grown pale beneath construction dust. There were plywood walls where ticket machines had been, a yellow caution tape sagging in a corner, and a line of plastic buckets filled with rainwater that had dripped from the ceiling in slow, patient strikes. Talia drank from one only after she touched the surface with 2 fingers and smelled them. It tasted like plaster and metal. She drank anyway. At platform level, half the lamps were dead. The far track was black except when the signal lights changed in the tunnel and laid narrow colors along the railheads. The active platform was blocked by a fence, but the opposite side had a service walkway that ran along a disused pocket track, one of those short, blind sections built for trains to wait, and then forgotten when schedules changed. Talia had learned to recognize the difference between abandoned and neglected. Abandoned places surrendered to silence. Neglected places kept one small, useful pulse. This place had a pulse. A fan turned behind a wall. A signal clicked. Water ticked steadily into a drain that still accepted it. The shelter stood beyond a stack of broken tiles and 2 rusted survey tripods, tucked beside the subway tracks, where the wall made a shallow inward bend. At first, she thought it was only a pile of construction scraps, but then she saw the shape of a door. It had been made from a sheet of old station advertisement, the kind that once promised new apartments near a park no one she knew could afford. The glossy picture faced inward, hidden from the track. The outside had been painted dull gray and rubbed with soot. Someone had fixed it to a frame of scavenged lumber and strips of black rubber cut from a truck tire. Across the center, in careful block letters, someone had written with white paint, "Latch, hard." Under that, smaller, "No light line." Talia waited, listening. A rat moved somewhere in the ballast with a dry, quick scrape. Farther down, a train slowed, its brakes whining in a tunnel beyond the curve. She should have kept walking. Any shelter with a door belonged to someone, and someone who built a door underground had reasons for wanting to shut the world out. But her knees were shaking, and the dark gap at the bottom of the door breathed air warmer than the platform. She put her fingers on the edge and pulled. The door gave with a soft drag, resisted by rubber, and opened into a space no larger than an elevator turned on its side. The inside walls were lined with sign panels, cardboard, and narrow boards. There was a pallet raised on bricks, folded cloth under a sheet of plastic, 2 jars of water, a coffee can packed with charcoal, a line of socks clipped to wire, and a low shelf made from a crate stamped with the Transit Authority's old blue seal. A battery lamp hung from a nail, but it was off. The place smelled of soap, dust, and the faint, clean bitterness of cut oranges. Someone lived here carefully. Talia meant only to sit for 10 breaths. She meant to close the door after she pulled her bag through. She told herself she would leave before whoever owned it came back. But when she crawled inside, warmth touched the back of her neck, and her body made a decision before her pride could argue. She sat on the pallet, pressed her hands between her knees, and lowered her head. Behind her, the homemade door stayed open by the width of a hand. A train entered the working tunnel on the other side of the wall. The first sign was not sound, but pressure. The air lifted the hairs along Talia's wrists. Then the tunnel roared. Wind shoved through the open door with the force of a thrown blanket, carrying dust, grit, and the sharp mineral smell of steel under load. The lamp swung on its nail. One of the jars rolled, knocked the shelf, and stopped against her boot. The door jerked wide, struck the outer frame, and stayed there trembling. A voice said, "You left it open." Talia came up with her shoulders against the wall, one hand around the little folding knife in her coat. A boy stood in the doorway, framed by the red blink of a distant signal. He was black, thin and tall for his age, though still young enough that anger sat on his face without practice. He wore a transit worker's orange vest, cut down to his size over a dark sweatshirt, and a knit cap pulled low enough to shadow his eyes. In one hand, he held a plastic bucket. In the other, he carried a short length of pipe wrapped at one end with tape. "I didn't take anything," Talia said. "You left it open," he said again, not louder, but with more weight. She tightened her grip on the knife without opening it. "I was going to shut it." Going to is not shut. Another train passed, farther this time, but the open door trembled as though it knew the difference between a warning and a blow. The boy stepped in fast, set the bucket down, caught the door with both hands, and dragged it closed until the rubber seals pressed against the frame. He dropped a chain over a bent cleat, shoved a wooden wedge into the bottom, then turned a latch made from a bus hinge and 2 bolts. Only when the edge stopped breathing did he look at her again. Talia did not understand why that mattered until he crossed the shelter and touched a strip of paper pinned along the seam where the back wall met the ceiling. It hung limp now, but its end was blackened with tunnel dust, and there were marks behind it, little lines numbered in pencil. He ran his thumb along the strip. His thumbnail came away gray. "Wrong way," he said. "What wrong way?" "Air." He unhooked the battery lamp and clicked it on under his palm so the light stayed low. He did not point it at her face. That, more than anything, kept her from running. People who meant to hurt you wanted first to see fear. He aimed the narrow beam at the back corner of the shelter. Between 2 advertisement panels, behind a row of taped seams, dust had drawn a fresh crescent on the wall. Something there had sucked air inward. The boy pulled a crate aside and pressed his ear to the panel. Talia heard only the city above them, a deep blur of pipes, traffic, and trains. Then, faintly, from behind the wall, came a metallic click. Then another. Not rhythm enough to be a machine running, not random enough to be settling. He put down the pipe, lifted a screwdriver from a coffee tin, and began removing screws from the panel. He worked quickly, but not carelessly. Each screw went into his pocket. Each strip of tape peeled away whole. The anger had not left him. It had changed into focus. Talia watched his hands. They were scratched and dry, with a new bandage across 2 knuckles. He glanced back once. "Name is Malik." "Talia." He pulled the last screw. The panel loosened. A ribbon of cold air slid through the gap and crossed the shelter at ankle height. Malik set his shoulder against the wood and eased it outward. Behind the panel was not bare concrete, but a metal service door no wider than a coffin lid, painted the old dark green used on machinery nobody had bought in decades. Its handle was folded flat into a recess. Above it, under grime, raised letters read, AIR Watch 12. A small round glass lens sat beside the handle, black until Malik's lamp passed over it. Then it showed a weak color from inside. Not green, not blue. Something like a bruise under glass. Talia forgot her cold hands. Malik did not look surprised in the way a person looks when he has found something impossible. He looked betrayed by a thing he had not known was in his own wall. You built your shelter over that, she said. I built on the only dry bend. You didn't know? I knew there was metal. Thought it was old cabinet back. The clicking came again. 3 taps, then a pause, then 1. Malik held up a hand to quiet her, though she had not spoken. The next passing train built in the tunnel, first as a tremble in the floor, then as a river of noise. While it passed, the round lens brightened. The door seemed to inhale. When the train was gone, the lens dimmed, and something behind the green metal gave a low, tired knock. Malik reached for the handle. Talia caught his wrist before she thought. He went still. His eyes dropped to her hand. Sorry, she said, and let go. But you don't open old doors because they knock. You opened mine. That's how I know. He looked at the metal door, at the paper strip, at the homemade latch, at the place where fresh dust marked the seam. Then he looked at the bucket he had brought in. It held water, 2 wrapped rolls, and a handful of oranges too bruised to sell. He took 1 roll, tore it in half, and put half on the crate between them. He did not hand it to her. That was another careful thing. She picked it up, waited until he took a bite of his own and ate. The bread was stale, but there was something sweet in the middle, old jam or bakery glaze. Her stomach tightened around it like a fist. While she ate, Malik took a folded card from a crack in the wall. On it, he had drawn the shelter in pencil. Door, pallet, shelf, bucket, lamp, back panel. Beside the door, he had drawn arrows showing air during passing trains. 1 arrow went in low, 1 out high, like breath. Malik took the screwdriver again, but before opening the green hatch, he did 3 things. He wetted a rag and held it near the seam to see how it pulled. He put his palm against the metal to feel for heat. Then he tied one end of a cord to the handle and the other to the shelter's frame, leaving just enough slack for the door to open the width of his shoulders. "Why tie it?" Talia asked. "Because a door can be a mouth or a trap. I don't know which." He folded the handle out. It resisted, then moved with a scrape that seemed too loud for such a small room. The seal broke. Air came through smelling of cold dust, machine oil, and something old, but not rotten, like paper stored in a metal box. Malik pulled. The door opened inward 3 inches and stopped against the cord. Beyond it was darkness with a shape to it. The lamp showed a narrow passage lined in tile, not white station tile, but smaller brown squares, each with a raised center like the inside of a machine room. At floor level ran a grated trench. Above it, iron brackets held cables wrapped in black cloth. The space was too clean to be simply abandoned. Dust lay there, but in flat layers, undisturbed except for one strip down the middle where air had traveled again and again. On the inside of the green door, painted in letters nearly hidden by soot, were more instructions. Keep pocket closed during passage. Open roof. Blind before smoke. Mark all persons below. Never sleep with low paper drawing in. Talia read the last line twice. Low paper. She looked back at the strip Malik had pinned along the shelter seam. The clicking resumed from inside the passage. Malik lifted the lamp higher. 20 feet in, the passage bent left around a concrete pier. On the wall before the bend, someone had screwed a metal plate shaped like a hand with 2 fingers pointing up. Under it, blind room. Beside the plate hung a chain, brown with rust, running through a hole in the ceiling. Malik crawled through first. Talia told herself to leave. The outer door was shut now, She had eaten half his bread. She could climb back to the street and find another dripping awning. But another train passed, and the green lens brightened behind him, and the paper strip on his shelter wall pulled inward low as a tongue. Malik saw it too. "Shut the door behind you," he said. It was not an invitation exactly. It was a test. Talia crawled through, turned, and pulled the green door until the cord slackened. Then she set the latch the way she had watched him do. The passage dimmed. The air steadied. Ahead, Malik's lamp waited. The hidden passage did not run far before opening into a room built between the old pocket track and a ventilation shaft. It was taller than the shelter, just high enough for Talia to stand with her head bent. The ceiling curved, brick above steel ribs. Along one wall sat a bench with a row of numbered hooks. None held keys. On the opposite wall, a board displayed square cards under cloudy plastic. Each card had holes punched along the edge and names typed across the middle, faded brown. Price, Ethel. Rowe, Lawrence. Chien, Mercedes. Finn, Aubrey. Brooks, Alma. Children below, 2. Asma, 1. Night cleaner, injured. Motorman, sleeping. No police. Talia did not know why the last 2 words struck her hardest. Maybe because they were instructions. Maybe because they were a mercy. Malik stood beneath the board without touching it. His face in the lamp glow had changed from anger to a watchfulness so complete it looked like fear. "This is old," Talia said. "Old things still work if nobody got around to breaking them." At the center of the room was a wheel taller than a bicycle tire set into the wall, its spokes flat and broad like fan blades. It was not turning, but it shifted a fraction every time a train moved through the active tunnel. A belt ran from its axle to a small generator mounted on a bracket. Wires led to a bank of glass batteries, most dry, 2 still connected to a box with a green eye. The same bruised color pulsed weakly there. Near the floor, the grated trench continued under the room and disappeared beneath a metal shutter. Above the shutter hung a painted scale with an arrow. The arrow leaned toward a red word: draw. Beside it, written by hand, years after the original paint, someone had added, "If red holds after 2 trains, open roof blind or get out." Malik whispered. The low paper drew in. "That means air is going the wrong way. It means something is pulling from below." "Below what?" He pointed at the grate. Talia crouched. Air moved through it, cold enough to raise goose flesh. From beneath came a smell that did not belong to rain or dust. It was electrical, bitter, with a buried sweetness like overheated rubber. "What is that?" she asked. Malik's answer was quiet. "Cable smoke. You know that smell? I know enough to hate it." The room suddenly felt smaller. Talia imagined smoke under the floor, gathering in a place where no one on the platform above could see it. She imagined Malik sleeping behind his door while fumes slid low beneath the pallet. She thought of the strip of paper, its blackened end, and the open door she had forgotten. "How long has that been happening?" she asked. "Wasn't before." "You sure? I check paper every time I come in." "And because I left the door open." "Because the door was open, the trains pulled through my shelter instead of the old blind. Maybe woke this up. Maybe showed what was already wrong." He looked at her then, and the anger returned for one beat. "Both are bad." The hidden room answered with another click, louder now, not a knock from behind a wall. A relay. A metal arm moved inside the box with the green eye, tried to complete a motion, failed, and fell back. Malik opened the box. Inside were ceramic blocks, copper-colored contacts gone dark, a small coil, and a paper label brittle at the edges. Train draft charger, below draw alarm, reset after blind, open. "Can you fix it?" Talia asked. Malik looked at the label. "No," he said, "but I can clean a contact." He took a pencil eraser from his pocket and rubbed the dark points carefully. Talia held the lamp. The first contact brightened under the eraser, then the second. Malik blew dust away, coughed once, and closed the box. The next train came hard through the active tunnel, a late express running empty enough to scream. The fan wheel shuddered, turned twice, and stopped. The green eye brightened. The relay clicked and held. From somewhere above them, far up the ventilation shaft, a bell rang once. The bell rang again, then stuck halfway through a third strike with a dull clank. The room went still, except for the faint movement of air under the grate. Talia looked at the board of punched cards and old names. What was this place? Malik moved the lamp across the walls until more words emerged. Some had been stenciled. Some had been added in marker, chalk, scratched nail. Air Watch 12. Pocket for smoke nights. Keep children above grate. Roof blind jams in wet weather. Do not let officials brick this before the east stair opens. A date appeared under the last line, 38 years old. My aunt told me there were rooms, Malik said slowly. Not this one. She cleaned stations when she was young, said night people made their own safe places because the real safe places were locked, or too far, or only for men with radios. Another smell came up through the grate, sharper now. Malik dropped to one knee and held his wet rag near the floor. It drew downward, toward the shutter. The painted arrow trembled against red. "We have to open roof blind," he said. "Where is it?" He pointed to the chain under the hand-shaped sign. Talia went to it and pulled. The chain did not move. She set both hands and leaned back. Pain shot across her blistered soles. The links creaked, shed rust, and locked solid. "Jammed," she said. "Everything with a sign is jammed." The chain ran up through the ceiling, but a second line ran along the wall toward a ladder caged in wire. Above the ladder was a square hatch. Malik tried it. It lifted 2 inches and dropped dirt into his hair. He stood back, coughing. The smell from below was stronger. He clicked the lamp back on. We opened the blind. Then we decide. The ladder cage was narrow and filmed with black dust. Malik climbed first, carrying the lamp by its strap in his teeth, until Talia cursed and told him to hand it down before he broke his neck. He gave her one offended look, then obeyed. The hatch above him lifted when he put his shoulder into it, and this time it stayed up. He squeezed through. Talia followed, her bag scraping the sides, her wet sleeve smearing grime along the rungs. The blind room was not a room, but a pocket inside the ventilation shaft, a cramped platform beside 3 great metal shutters. They were stacked like the gills of an enormous fish, each louver thick with dust and bird feathers blown down from the street. A round shaft rose above them into darkness. Somewhere high overhead, a street grate admitted a weak gray light from city lamps. Rainwater had run down the shaft and dried in mineral stripes. One shutter stood open by 2 fingers. The others were closed. A lever on the wall connected to the stuck chain below. Beside it, a counterweight hung in a track. The weight had jammed against a wedge of crumbled brick. Malik touched it, and the brick shifted, sending a shower of grit past the platform. The whole lever assembly groaned. Talia looked at the mechanism. She had no special skill with machines, but she had spent enough time surviving around broken things to know that force was often what people used after a tension failed. The counterweight could not drop because the broken brick had wedged into the track. She took the screwdriver from Malik's back pocket when he nodded, lay flat on the platform, and reached into the slot. The brick piece was soft with age, but the angle was bad. Her fingers cramped. Dust filled her nose. She worked the screwdriver under the brick and tried to lever it up. Below, a train passed, Wind rose through the shaft, upward for a breath, then down. The open louver whistled. Smoke smell surged through the gap. Malik grabbed the back of Talia's coat to keep her from sliding. She scraped harder. The brick shifted a quarter inch. Malik took the pipe he had wrapped with tape and set it under the counterweight, not lifting, only catching. Talia worked the screwdriver again. The brick broke in half. One piece fell away. The counterweight dropped 2 inches onto Malik's pipe with a sound like a hammer striking an anvil. The louvers shuddered. Dust poured from their edges. He lowered the pipe. The counterweight slid, caught, slid again. The first shutter opened, then the second, then the third. Air that had been searching the wrong routes found the shaft. It moved past Talia's face with sudden purpose, pulling the bitter smoke smell upward. The stuck bell below completed its third ring, then fell silent. For 5 seconds, the hidden system seemed to wake with dignity. The fan wheel below began to turn in the draft. The green eye brightened to a true color. Somewhere in the shaft, a loose chain tapped a slow, satisfied beat. Then the lower grate banged. Malik and Talia looked at each other. "What was that?" she asked. He leaned toward the ladder and listened. The bang came again, metal against metal from beneath the airwatch room. The painted arrow below must have moved. She could hear its little needle rattling. The smoke smell was lifting, but now water had joined it. A wet slap under the floor. They climbed down fast. In the airwatch room, the arrow no longer leaned toward draw. It swung wildly between marks. Under the grate, black water surged and retreated, carrying shreds of paper, a plastic fork, and gray foam. "That trench was dry," Talia said. "Not dry, draining." "From where?" Malik followed the trench to the metal shutter near the floor. Water pushed under it in pulses. On the shutter's face, almost hidden by mineral crust, a small plate read, "Sump throat. Clear before storm drains back." "It rained," Talia said. "Rain stopped. Drains don't know that." Malik tried to lift the shutter. It did not move. The lower edge had rusted into its track. Water slapped again and sprayed his shoes. He stepped back, not from fear, but calculation. If the trench filled, it would run into the airwatch room, then through the green hatch into his shelter. If smoke kept rising from below, water and fumes would meet in the one place he slept. He looked at the board of old names. He looked at his own pencil plans folded on the crate beyond the door. "We need the sump open," he said. "And if the water comes faster?" "Then it comes, whether we help or not." The sump throat had 2 side pins. One was missing. The other had rusted into place. Malik took a socket wrench from a bracket near the bench, fitted it, and leaned. Nothing. He put his foot against the wall and pulled until his bandaged knuckles whitened. "Stop," Talia said. "You'll strip it." "You fix many sump shutters?" "No. I break enough cheap locks to know when metal is laughing." He gave her the wrench. "Make it stop laughing." The pinhead was rounded, but not gone. Talia wrapped a strip of rubber from Malik's supplies around it, set the socket again, and pressed inward, while turning instead of only pulling. The socket bit. The pin moved with a squeal so ugly she felt it in her teeth. She turned an eighth, stopped, turned another. Malik held the shutter to keep it from jerking. Water climbed to their ankles, cold through her ruined shoes. The pin came free. The shutter rose 6 inches and jammed. Water poured under with more force, now carrying the heavy sewer smell of backed storm drains. Something pale pressed against the gap from the other side, blocking flow. Not a body, as Talia's mind first offered and her stomach rejected, but a mass of plastic bags knotted around a collapsed screen. Malik lay down, reached under the shutter, and grabbed. "Don't put your hand in there," Talia snapped. He pulled back with slime on his fingers and anger in his eyes. "You got a better hand?" She opened her bag. It held little worth naming. A sweatshirt, a cracked phone with no service, a comb, socks in a plastic sleeve, a metal spoon, and a pair of kitchen tongs she had stolen from a shelter cafeteria because they were useful for picking food from trash without touching glass. She held up the tongs. Malik stared. "You carry tongs? You carry a pipe? Fair." She lay on her side, shoulder in water, and worked the tongs into the gap. The plastic mass resisted. She twisted, pulled, lost it, caught it again. Malik wedged the shutter higher with the pipe. The bags came out in ropes, each bringing black leaves, grit, a child's glove, cigarette filters, and the dead smell of city drains. Talia gagged but did not stop. The water rose past her wrist, then dropped suddenly as the blockage tore free. The trench swallowed the surge. Under the floor, something deep answered with a hollow gulp. Water raced away from the room, carrying foam and grit into a dark channel beyond the grate. The arrow steadied near a painted word. Clear. Talia sat back against the wall, soaked and shaking. Malik laughed once, breathless, not because anything was funny, but because the room had not drowned them. They stood in the airwatch room as the fan wheel turned on the train draft above and the sump breathed below. For the first time since Talia crawled into his shelter, the air did not pull wrong. It moved low toward the grate, then up through the blind room, carrying smoke away from the shelter and into the shaft. The green eye held steady. Then a third sound entered the system. Voices, closer than before. Malik killed the lamp. In the dark, Talia heard boots on ballast outside the shelter. Not platform steps, track steps. Someone was walking the pocket track. "Here?" a man said. "End of the dead pocket," another answered. "They said seal anything with air draw. Pest crew comes Monday. Rats been coming through the old vents." Talia felt Malik go still beside her. A flashlight struck the outside of the homemade door. This time, it did not pass over. It stopped. A hand tried the door. The chain held. The wedge held. The homemade frame creaked. Malik's breathing changed. Talia knew what was happening inside him because it happened inside her too. The body preparing to run before the mind admits there is nowhere to go. If they burst out through the green hatch and shelter door, they would run straight into workers or police. If they stayed, the workers might tear the shelter apart and leave the airwatch door open. The system that had just begun to breathe correctly would be exposed, misunderstood, sealed. A radio crackled. "Kip, you got eyes on that pocket?" "Yeah. Something built down here." "Clear it. Document later." The man at the door pulled harder. Malik moved toward the green hatch, but Talia caught his sleeve. Not his wrist this time. Cloth only. "Don't," she whispered. "They'll break it." She pointed at the alarm box, the bell line, the relay. The roof blind now open. The system had a way to call attention without showing them first. On the wall beside the bench hung a small red handle behind cracked glass. The label under it read, "Platform Smoke Tell. Use only if above unaware." Malik followed her gaze. That could call everybody. Good. Or shut down the line. Is there smoke? He looked down at the grate. The bitter smell remained, thin but real. Yes. Then tell. Outside, wood split. One hinge of the shelter door gave a sharp cry. Malik flinched as if the sound came from his own ribs. Then he crossed the room, wrapped his sleeve around his fist, and broke the cracked glass inward. He pulled the red handle. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the hidden room changed color. A row of small lenses along the ceiling lit one by one, amber under dust. The relay box chattered. Far above, the bell rang not once, but in a pattern. Too short. One long. Too short. From the active platform came a shout. A signal horn sounded down the tunnel, not loud, but official. a clipped warning note that made every human voice stop. Outside the shelter, the workers froze. "What the hell did you touch?" one shouted, not to Malik, to his partner. "Wasn't me." The pocket track lights shifted from work white to red. Somewhere beyond the curve, brakes screamed as a train slowed before entering the block. Talia felt the old machinery under her feet, making itself known to the modern line. A voice on the radio snapped. "We have a smoke-tell at Kittering Pocket. Confirmed source." The man named Kip swore. "There ain't supposed to be any smoke-tell down here." "There is now," Talia whispered. Malik stared at the red handle in his hand, then slowly let it go. The workers did not tear the door after that. They backed away, speaking into radios, lights moving fast across the platform and track. Within minutes, the station filled with controlled alarm. More boots, more radios. Someone shut power to the pocket track, though the active rails beyond the wall still carried trains at restricted speed. A supervisor demanded plans. Another voice answered that the old drawings showed nothing but a sealed ventilation void. Malik listened through the green hatch with an expression Talia could not read. Fear, certainly. Anger. But under both, a fierce attention. His private shelter had become the center of something too large to hide. Talia looked around the airwatch room at the old punched cards and the instructions written by hands that had distrusted official labels as much as Malik did. Then we label it first. When he asked what it was, she did not know. The room was not merely a hiding place and not merely a machine. It had been built for people who worked below notice, people who needed air when smoke came, and a bench when knees failed, and a board where their presence counted even if nobody upstairs asked. It was not a home, but it had kept the shape of care after everyone who made it was gone. Malik looked at the painted words. Then he pulled one of his pencil cards from his pocket and wrote fast against the wall. Active air draw below. Roof blind opened by hand. Sump throat cleared. Cable smoke present. Door must stay latched during trains. He hesitated, then added, found by Malik Rowan and Talia Wren after open door draw showed fault. Talia almost told him not to write her name. Names made it easier for people to find you, file you, return you to places you had escaped. But old cards under cloudy plastic watched from the wall. Mark all persons below, the instructions said. Not arrest, not own. Mark. She said nothing. A knock came at the shelter door, not the wrenching pull from before. 3 deliberate strikes. "You inside?" a woman called. "This is Supervisor Neda Vallis with Transit Fire Safety. I'm not sending police through that door. I need to know if anyone is breathing bad air." Malik's eyes narrowed. Talia understood. Adults promised all kinds of shapes through doors. The woman outside coughed once, then continued. "The smoke tell you triggered stopped a train short of the next block. That matters. We have a hot cable reading 2 rooms south of you. We are cutting feed. Nobody is in trouble for pulling a real alarm." Malik moved close to the homemade door, but did not open it. "What's the paper doing?" he called. Talia spoke before fear could seal her mouth. "There's low paper at the shelter seam. If it draws inward, don't open the door during a passing train. Watch the bottom edge." Outside, silence, then shifting. The woman's voice came lower. "It's pulling a little. We've got no train moving in this block now, so that means lower draw." Malik breathed through his nose. The answer was not enough to trust her, but it was enough to continue. "Roof blind is open," he called. "Sump throat clear. Something is smoking under the south cable trough." Malik swept the lamp over the walls. Behind the bench, under a row of hooks, was a metal panel painted the same green as the hatch. He wiped grime with his sleeve. Lines emerged. Not a map of tracks exactly, but of air. Arrows through shafts, pockets, dampers, blinds. Air Watch 12 connected by a lower draw trench to South Cable Bay, by a roof blind to Kittering grates, by a side pipe to something called the Mercy Stair Pocket. Red circles marked smoke, tell handles. Blue squares marked manual dampers. "There's a diagram," he said. Talia watched his face. The shelter had been his proof that he could make one place obey him. A door that closed, a shelf that held, a floor raised above seep water. If he opened it, all the city's appetite might pour in. But if he did not, the hot cable could keep burning, and the old system might be sealed by people afraid of what they had not bothered to know. Malik unlatched the green hatch first, then the homemade shelter door. He opened both only as far as the chain allowed. Supervisor Valles crouched outside. She was a compact woman with silver at her temples, a respirator hanging loose against her chest, and a helmet pushed back from her forehead. Her eyes moved quickly over Malik, Talia, the shelter, the green hatch, and the chain. She did not say, "What is this mess?" She did not say, "Who let you in here?" She said, "Good latch." She did not enter until Malik moved the chain. She crawled through the shelter as though entering a church built for small, tired gods. 2 firefighters followed, both wearing masks and carrying meters. Their equipment beeped near the grate. One knelt and spoke into his radio. "CO elevated but venting. Heat signature South Cable Bay. No flame visible from here." The male worker named Kip stood outside the shelter, staring at the broken hinge. He was middle-aged, with a face reddened by embarrassment. "I didn't know somebody was in there," he said. Malik's reply was flat. "You knew something was in there." Kip had no answer. For the next half hour, the hidden room became crowded without becoming useless. Valles made everyone move slowly. She photographed the diagram but did not remove it. Malik showed her the roof-blind chain, the cleared sump throat, the alarm handle. Talia showed the plastic bags they had pulled from the shutter. The firefighters traced the cable smoke to a service bay beyond the lower trench, where old insulation had overheated against a bundle of newer wires. The open roof blind had drawn fumes up instead of letting them creep under the active platform. The smoke tell had stopped trains before the block filled. "If that blind stayed shut," one firefighter said, reading his meter, "this pocket loads up low first." He looked at Malik's shelter and did not finish. He did not have to. Talia stood near the board of punched names while people moved around her. Her body had begun to shake now that the work was less immediate. She did not want anyone to see. She folded her arms and read the cards through cloudy plastic. Price, Ethel. Rowe, Lawrence. Chan, Mercedes. Finn, Aubrey. Brooks, Alma. There were more behind them, stacked in a metal drawer. Not diaries, not speeches, just records of presence, need, skill. Asthma. 1. Burned hand. Nose fans. 3 children sleeping. Can carry water. The past had not explained itself in one beautiful confession. It had left a system that required hands. Its story was in what the room asked people to do. Valles approached them, helmet under one arm. "We have to keep this area open until engineers inspect it. That means nobody sleeps beside the track tonight." "But," she continued, "nobody is being taken out in cuffs. The line is partially shut because your alarm worked. I can get you both to the crew room upstairs for now. Food, dry socks, a bench. After that, there are people I trust more than the intake desk. Not perfect people. Better than random." Malik looked at his shelter. The broken hinge, the pallet, the jars, the shelf, the door Talia had left open and he had built like a law. "If I leave, they'll throw it away." "No one touches the shelter until it's documented," Valles said, "and the door gets fixed before anyone removes anything, because right now, it is part of the air behavior." "Malik, that your name? You said it on the note." "Malik," she said anyway. "You built a baffle without calling it that." The seal on that door helped keep the low draw from taking the wrong path. I'm not throwing away a working baffle made by someone who noticed what our drawings missed. The words landed on him visibly. Not praise exactly. Recognition of function. He trusted it more. Talia expected him to ask whether he could come back. Instead, he asked, "Who built Airwatch 12? Valles looked at the name board. "We'll find out." "No," Malik said. "You'll search files. The room says some already." He slid open the metal drawer under the cards. Inside were punched transfers, old work order stubs, folded track notices, and narrow photographs browned at the edges. Valles crouched. Talia held the lamp. The photographs showed people in work clothes sitting on the same bench, but younger wood, cleaner walls. A woman with a mop handle across her knees. A man with a bandaged eye. 2 children asleep on bundled coats under the hooks. 3 workers holding a hand-painted sign. AR is a right below ground. No one smiled broadly. They looked tired and proud in equal parts, as if the camera had interrupted a task worth returning to. On the back of one photograph, in pencil, someone had written, "Kittering Smoke Night, 1984. Official vent locked." We opened our own. Another paper listed names and trades. Ethel Price, cleaner, roof blind key. Lawrence Rowe, porter, built low grate. Mercedes Chan, electrician, tel circuit. Aubrey Finn, tile setter, hidden hatch. Alma Brooks, night cook, water and children. Malik traced one name with his finger without touching ink. "Brooks," he said. "My aunt's friend used to talk about an Alma who fed everybody from a cart." Valles spoke softly. "This needs preservation." "It needed maintenance," Malik said. "Yes." The simplicity of her agreement stopped the argument before it grew. They left the hidden room just before dawn. Talia crawled through the shelter last. She paused with one hand on the homemade door. The hinge was cracked where Kip had forced it. The white letters, "Latch hard," had been scraped, but they remained legible. She wanted to say something to Malik about leaving it open, an apology larger than the first. But he was watching the platform, not her, his face drawn with exhaustion. So she shut the door carefully. She set the chain, pressed the rubber seal, and placed the wedge at the bottom. Then she checked the paper strip. It hung still. Malik saw. He gave one small nod. The crew room upstairs was warm in the blunt way of municipal rooms, with lockers, a microwave, a scarred table, and a vending machine that gave back no change. Talia sat with a towel around her shoulders and soup between both hands, while Malik kept his wet shoes on a folded newspaper. No one asked for their whole histories before feeding them. That made the room feel less like rescue and more like a safer kind of weather. Valles returned with old station drawings and did not pretend they were complete. The plans showed the platform, the pocket track, and the vent shaft. But Airwatch 12 appeared only as a blank rectangle marked obsolete duct. Malik leaned over the paper and followed the line from his shelter bin to the hidden hatch. "Not obsolete," he said. Valles answered, "No." "Not a void," Talia added. Valles answered, "No," again. And that second refusal to erase the place did more to calm Malik than any promise would have done. The following days did not become simple. There were forms, arguments, and adults who believed 2 young people without addresses were problems to be moved before they were witnesses to be heard. Valles fought some of them with a voice that made the room smaller. Malik's Aunt Nyla arrived furious and frightened, then listened through both feelings while he explained the low paper, the roof blind, and the sump throat. Talia stayed close to the wall, ready to vanish if anyone reached too quickly. Nyla saw that readiness and only said there was soup if she sat. The city sent engineers after that, and retired night workers came with memories. A woman named Imogene Fair remembered sleeping in a pocket during a smoke delay when she was a child. An old electrician brought a copied notice about the Kittering Smoke Night of 1984. The past did not arrive as one clean confession. It came as work orders, photographs, names, and people correcting one another over details that mattered because someone had lived through them. Valles kept the practical list above every table. Roof, blind-free and marked, sump throat screened and scheduled, tell circuit preserved, name board protected, door behavior measured before replacement. Malik insisted that nobody replace what they did not understand. Talia, who had once treated every door as either threat or escape, found herself agreeing with him harder than she expected. When they made new cards, Malik filled his first. Rowan. Malik. Built exterior baffle. Opened roof blind. Cleared draw fault. Knows trains by pressure. Talia held the blank card long enough for the edge to mark her thumb. Then she wrote, Ren. Talia. Left door open. Cleared sump throat. Carries tongs. Learning latch. Malik told her she did not have to include the first part. She said the rest meant more because of it. The transit crew eventually installed a steel access door beside the shelter, with a pressure gasket and a latch that could be opened from inside with numb hands. The old advertisement door was not thrown away. Talia insisted on that with a force that surprised even her. They cleaned it, but left the scraped words visible. Latch hard. No light line. Check paper. It was mounted inside Airwatch 12 across from the name board, preserved not as decoration, but as proof that care could begin before permission. The first real emergency after the restoration came in December, on a night when the city above glittered with holiday advertisements and the tunnels below smelled of wet wool and brake dust. A transformer failed 2 stations south. Smoke moved into the cable bay, not as thick as before, but enough for alarms. This time the modern systems noticed. So did Airwatch 12. Its tell circuit clicked, its green eye shifted amber, and the bell rang the old pattern into a station that finally knew how to answer. Valles was off duty. Kip was on another line. Malik and Talia were in the crew room, eating noodles from paper bowls and arguing over whether the old fan wheel should be lubricated with graphite or left dry until the bearing study came back. The alarm ended the argument. They ran with the adults, not ahead of them, not behind. Malik checked the latch on the new door. Talia checked the paper. It drew low, but not past the second mark. Roof blind 1 notch more, she said. Malik already had his hand on the chain. Train movement stopped. A worker at the radio confirmed it. Then open, Talia said. He pulled. The chain moved cleanly through its guide. Above, the louvers widened. The room breathed upward. Smoke that might once have wandered blind through cracks went where the old hands had taught it to go. No one cheered. Useful work rarely made room for cheering while it was still needed. They watched meters, cleared a small plastic blockage from the sump screen, logged the draw, and shut the blind 1 notch when the fans stabilized. Afterward, an engineer twice Talia's age asked where she had learned to read air that way. She looked at Malik. Malik looked at the preserved old door. She left one open, he said. Talia rolled her eyes, but there was no cruelty in it now. When the line reopened, trains moved through Kittering with their windows bright and passengers staring at phones, never knowing how much of the city depended on small hidden rooms and people willing to notice a paper strip. Talia stood beside Malik behind the safety rail, feeling the pressure arrive before the sound. The repaired systems took the breath, shaped it, sent it upward. The shelter door on the wall did not move. Its work was done, but its lesson remained. Much later, when the crew room emptied and the night settled into its deep mechanical rhythm, Talia returned alone to Airwatch 12. Not to sleep. She had a bed now, narrow and imperfect, and hers for at least another month. She came because she wanted to hear the room without voices in it. The old names rested behind cloudy plastic. The new cards rested beside them. The green eye watched without judgment. The sump trench clicked with clean drops. Above, rain touched the roof blind and left silver tracks down the shaft. Talia stood in front of the preserved door and placed her palm against the painted words. The first time she had touched it, she had treated it as another barrier between her and warmth. She had not imagined a door could be more than refusal. This one had been warning, shelter, baffle, signal, mistake, evidence. It had kept danger out until her carelessness let danger speak. It had also let a hidden room be found. Malik came in without announcing himself. She knew his steps now. Careful on the threshold, lighter near the grate, never dragging. He stood beside her and looked at the old door. "You checking that it's shut?" he asked. "Yes." "It's bolted to a wall." "Still." He nodded as though this made sense, because to him it did. After a while, he said, "Nyla says there's room at dinner tomorrow, if you want." Talia kept her eyes on the door. Invitations could feel like hands if delivered wrong. Malik delivered his like a tool placed on a bench. "What time?" she asked. 6. She burns rice when mad, so don't be late. "I'll try." Try means not shut. She looked at him then. He was smiling a little, the expression rare enough that it changed the room. "I'll be there," she said. They left Airwatch 12 together. Malik checked the roof blind mark. Talia checked the paper. At the new steel door, she paused and waited for him to pass through first, because it had been his shelter before it became everyone's lesson. He shook his head. "You opened it the first time," he said. "Close it. Right this time." So she stepped out, pulled the door until the gasket met the frame, listened for the latch to fall, and pressed once with her palm to be sure. On the other side, the subway moved through the dark, dragging wind and people and light beneath the city. The paper strip stayed within its marks. The air went where it was supposed to go. Talia had spent years measuring life by what she could escape. That night, beside the tracks, with Malik waiting and the old room breathing steadily behind them, she measured it by what she could keep working. The difference was quiet. It did not fix the city. It did not erase hunger from memory or make every door safe. But it gave her one motion she trusted. Open when there is need. Close with care. Return to check the latch